Because, I don't know, we got stuff. On here, there's something else differently. If you go to my Twitter at HaveABJ, I know, I can't believe I beat porno to that address. But, it's also my Instagram and stuff, but I'm not there right now. Because my cell phone's doing other things. More important things. The behind the scenes stuff that I probably shouldn't have put the audio on for early. As you'll see, Morgan or during, I pointed out that there was election meddling by Twitter here. I just want to put that on a... So I'm like using Pinterest all of a sudden. Just because I realized, oh, gee, I forgot the Pinterest. All the places I didn't put that image. Let's say what platform, but they expect us to like it. It's like, oh yeah. We want you here, but we want you to obey too. I mean, like, really. But they can't be an editor anymore. They just can't be an editor, or they'll have to call themselves a newspaper and get ragged on by Tim again. And as a liberal leftist newspaper instead of a platform where all voices are heard, regardless of how foul-mouthed they are. What we got here, we got Morgan O'Gurn basically using veiled threats against me, and if I clicked on some of these, it would spread. I recommend looking at it yourself. At my Twitter account, HaveABJ, it's down there. Some posts on the other social media sites. I should probably be checking if this is working. Is this live? Oh, hello there. Do I have a page? Yeah, it's should be discoverable. My page is to the live. Doesn't work on this thing over here. It's the Black Jester. I haven't put one up for my tongue-in-cheek comedy thing. Okay, I got to pause it off there. That seems to be working just fine then. See, it's slash the official Black Jester. That's the comedian page right there. Oops, I just lost Orbis. Actually, I could have just brought it up. Oh no, not there. That's the OBS and the recording. I have a few pages on there actually, on Orbis. Let's see. So there's Huffing Glue Post and stuff like that. Let's see. Just open that into a new window. Open Huffing Glue Post into a new window. Let's see the address here. Yeah, the official Black Jester is the one for the comedy standard stand-up persona I use here. podcast itself is just tied into that, and GoLiberty.org as well, I guess, the tongue-in-cheek political site. It's as serious as I can get. And Huff and Glue Post, of course, is the satire newspaper. You might notice on my profile there's some shares on it from that. Yeah. So I'm under attack by Ronan O'Gur. She's putting veiling threats on me and tweeting it, adding the Twitter security to my posts. I called her Ronan O'Gur again. I'm going to be in so much trouble. She prefers more gain and prefers she. I just consider her a cunt. Doesn't matter. Whatever gender she picks, the trans trender is a cunt. Just trying to trouble. All I was trying to do is point out that I used this I originally attacked her for charging this preacher in the Human Rights Commission because it was actually giving ammo to fanatical Christian conservatives, and I told her off about it, and then I got flagged for it because I used the dead name, and it was more of a personal targeting, not a general transphobia thing, and because I wasn't happy about finding out it's just that the enemies, the LGBT, were using what she did more than anybody. And, well, I got my campaign account banned during the 2019 election. Well, it's the account I used for my campaign anyway. I had myself announced. I had a Libertarian Party banner up there. I had everything up there, and Twitter took it down. It's election meddling. Morgan O'Gur was a powerful member of the party that the incumbent was in my riding, my constituency. So it all smelled really bad. And then she got triggered because I guess maybe there was some truth to it. Maybe there was something to do with it. I also had more followers on that. I was restarting a comedy one at that point, and they have a BJ account, and just for the sake of trying to separate my career from the politics as much as possible. Apparently, I wasn't allowed that privilege. So I had to bring them all back. I wasn't even following many of the political ones on that account, and now I have to do that more and more. And that's too bad. Too bad we can't have separate worlds for that stuff. The fun and the politics. It's just dreadful. So, yeah. So, yeah, that was the latest thing this morning. The first thing that happened on Black Jester History Month is I see this trans trender trying to shut me down, or try to make excuses for what I'm guessing is her admitting that she had me flagged, or did flag me. Which is kind of weird. He was like many on the list and stuff like that, So the Chinese are trying to get a gold mine in none of it. It's not bad enough that they have all the power plants and most of the Bitcoin miners out there, so they can really just start buying up their own currency with all the Bitcoin they mine and shit like that. But they also have to have a Canadian gold mine too, and God knows where the hell. Epoch Times has an interesting article on that. Chinese company bid to buy Nunavut gold mine of grave concern to security expert. Well, my controller. Uh, so yeah, who wouldn't it be a concern for? I mean, they're trying to buy up everything. Apparently, in the 80s, everyone was wrong. It wasn't the Japanese trying to buy up everything. It was the Chinese communists trying to buy up everything. A lot of these stinking pinkos. Go figure. Whenever there's a remnants of communists left, there's still more problems. That's just a hard, cold fact. We'll never be able to totally get rid of it, and that's, one good argument for borders is that because there's so many pinkos out there, you need some way to keep pinkos out. And at least as many as possible, and not be endangered. But it's funny. I got targeted on Twitter today by a usual troublemaker, and from my own city. I actually know Morgan, oddly enough, because she ran in a municipal campaign. She ran a municipal campaign for school board. Yeah, disconcerting, isn't it? When I was running for mayor of Vancouver in 2018. So that was and it's quite a weirdo, very antisocial creature, oddly enough. But she posted this just the day that Trump just took it. I mean, he really took the ball, and he fucked social media in the sense that he's pretty much taking away their toy to censor people, which is cool. I mean, it might be a little bad for alt tech, but I don't know. You probably, just in case, you should always have an alt tech account. Because even if you go back a little bit to Facebook or whatever, because they're not allowed to do it, fine. I always maintain that because the SEC, if you're talking about private companies that are not trading stock in order to survive through a government institution like the SEC, you could probably say mob platform. But when it comes to public companies trading through the SEC stock market, they're stuck to the First Amendment because the SEC can legitimately kick them out because they're working through legislation by Congress, and Congress can't write any legislation that violates free speech. It can't, and that's just a cold hard fact. And Twitter, and that's part of this executive order, I think. They insist on acting like a newspaper, a publisher. Twitter, Facebook, whatever, they'll end up losing that platform status, and they'll be able to sue. Now, Morgan O'Gara, she also went on Twitter supporting this idea of Twitter and stuff like that becoming non-platforms, where she wants to sue all of them because she likes to get an easy buck doing that. She's not threatening to sue me because she knows I'm poor as fuck. Certainly poorer than she was after she sued that preacher for doing nothing at the Human Rights Commission, for doing nothing but sharing his opinion. But and of course hurting gays, lesbians, transsexuals, and the point, because people who are intolerant towards that have that to say, look, this is why we have conversion therapy and stuff like that. So that's just a great evil all around. But what is good is, Trump actually stepped up. He saw Malkin's thing get deleted after he retweeted, and he got marked up on some ridiculous fact check nonsense, and which is strange. It's never happened to me, but probably because I don't have enough of a following. But I do get enough views I get more views than I do get followings often, which means, maybe people should join the social media they're looking at or whatever. Join the channels and so on. If you go to blackjester.com, you'll see a lot of links to. If you go to the or you see the last podcast, you'll see a lot of links and stuff like that to just various social medias and websites that I'm associated with and things of that nature. That way you can know all the channels and everything. Brighteon, I'm not quite sure about posting to now because they actually did censor me. They actually refused to post a video of mine because I put the word, well, I'll say it, nigger on it. To make a point. Because they actually went and watched the video after I complained, and they said, well, there's nothing wrong with the content. And yeah, that was the point, asshole. And they still wanted me to change the title, and I said, fuck you. No. I'm not changing the title. I do this just so I can have, I don't care if I never get sent in my life, or as long as I can speak freely. And as long as I can trick people with titles into either, or well, at least see, the titles sometimes can be used to see people will actually double check and do something informative, like watch the video to see if it's really as bad as it looks or something like that, because that's important. We kind of got to be clever about these things, unlike AOC. AOC suggests Trump advisors use of human capital term is pro-slavery after saying it herself. Oh, there you go. Hypocrisy all around, huh? What a creepy And she's a broad that tries to capitalize on how she looks, and then she tries to claim everyone wants to fuck her at the same time, and she says like it's a bad thing to her. Yeah. You'd get far without all the simps out there. Let's see. I'd say I'd fuck her mouth, but that's only to shut her up. Anyway, it's hilarious. It's funny, Babylon B had an article saying that, was it? No, I think it was something else. It was some meme that said they're amazed that COVID-19 didn't kill Biden because, wish I could find it, because he's always sniffing people and stuff like that, which is kind of a good point. It's like he's got the cure because he doesn't get sick, because despite the fact doesn't know boundaries. I mean, no way in hell Biden's keeping himself a distance from anybody. He's got to creep up, and creep out doesn't have social distancing. Yeah, who'd figure he'd be stuck in mom's basement, huh? Probably still has her there, corpseified and sniffing her up. That's a disgusting thought. But yeah, and China's adding extra, taking over the security of Hong Kong because they realize that they've neglected to protect the people from Hong Kong from themselves. All I can say is I stand with Hong Kong and fuck China. And I'd like to see YouTube stop me. Oh, I really would. They already throttled my anti-fentanyl videos and stuff like that, and I attacked China. And I got some real good cred on that issue because the Shanghai Media Group actually banned my IP before I even went to that website. It's like they knew I'd go there. So I mean, they hold some weight to what I say. So who knows? It was some bizarre shit, man. It's weird. I mean, how did he even get it without me going there? That's creepy. But apparently also the second wave China has is another disease too. So they'll certainly get the full shit prize. And of course, rioters are pretending they give a shit about George Floyd, who wrongfully got murdered by a cop who should get arrested and thrown in jail with all the people he beat up in the past. And shit like that. Who knew Minneapolis, of all places, would have cops like that? It's like, it seems so... I mean, they had Ventura as a governor and stuff, and it's like, you'd figure they'd have the coolest cops in the world. No. But I got my police brutality in Vancouver, and you wouldn't expect that, would you? There's always these big liberal cities, right? Was Minneapolis liberal? Probably. They got something weird in the They got a different Democratic Party there. They got the Democratic Farmer Party, which is an affiliate of the National Democratic Party, but it's kind of different. I noticed... Yeah, that's weird. I mean, I haven't heard anything from Ventura, but but Senator Franken... Oh. I gotta restart this. Franken is actually... I should probably lower the sound on it, too. Senator Franken is silent on this. Amy Schumer's got her big fat mouth flopping around. I guess someone forgot to give her a hamburger. But Senator Franklin's from the state, and I think he's a Minnesota senator, and no one's asking him a thing about this whole scenario. Did he come out as openly abusive cop or something? Well, it seems the Democrats usually are. I mean, like Bloomberg left to the Republican Party. Why? Because they didn't like his stop and frisk program? Not that I'm going to tout the Republican Party, because back then especially there were neocons. And Bloomberg was a neocon too. Heavily. Of course, so was Giuliani, too. I mean, he was replacing Giuliani. And, yeah, that was like neocon stated. So, oh, yeah. So, yeah, it's like, it's crazy shit. In the 90s, it was like totally, quote-unquote, moderate. They call themselves moderates too, Giuliani and Giuliani called himself a moderate. He was shutting down all those strip clubs, but he called himself a moderate because he liked abortion. Because apparently the girl who had another body inside her could do what she wanted, but the stripper couldn't do what she wanted to do with her own body. She wasn't killing anything. There was no other body in there. Well, there might have been. I'm not going to deny that's a possibility. Doctors say you got to keep on doing what you do when you're pregnant, and some guys are into that stuff too. I mean, it's one thing if you're into your own pregnant wife, but into another pregnant guy's wife, that's kind of weird. Or a guy who ran off on his broad. Who the hell knows? Support single mothers, that's all I say. I'm not against strip clubs at all. I love them. Great way to know it's a great way to know that you've got self-control. It's a strip club. self-control is all it's about, right? People rag on porn and stuff. I mean, character is if you can go to a porn site, leave, and not show up for another month. Because the Coomers, as they're called, they go every day, and they fucking lose their life over it. It's just because mommy didn't love them enough, and daddy wasn't strict enough. But shit. I might say that magazines and stuff all over the place. We had dirty jokes in the house. My father yelled foul words in traffic. My father had a truly tasteless joke book collection. We all enjoyed National Lampoon from the 70s. Best stuff. If you can ever get a hold of National Lampoon in the 70s, you got some of the best stuff. Just like when Saturday night, before it had live in the title, was the best. That was back in the 70s when they're not ready for prime time players. Now they're way too ready for prime time, and they fire you if you are not. Poor Shane Gillis. Holy shit. Shane Gillis got denied because he did a Chinese joke. Now, I got a lot of Chinese relatives married in. My ancestry, Magyar ancestry, comes from the East. And I still don't give a crap. So basically, I'm as Asian as Tim Pool. I consider my race Magyar. That's what I call it. Maybe it's related to Ainus in some degree. I don't know. I'm not quite sure how it breaks up. I know my haplogroup, and I know there are only two other guys in the same male haplogroup. More people need to do that stuff on Family Tree. Family Tree TNA, I'm not paid to do this, but if you choose to do something like that, they have an opt-in thing with the cop thing, so you don't have to opt into it. So the cops can't touch shit. Let's say they've got a very good warrant at least, and then even there, it's like you can argue DNA is self-incrimination. And any attempt to get it from you personally, where you own it, is actually a violation. So, like drinking straws and stuff like that, unless they got a compelling warrant to take your DNA, they can't take your DNA. Which is important to know. Because even if you're innocent, you should stand up for those rights. You should say, fuck you, man. Prove it. Man is charged with stealing diamonds from Playboy tycoon James Stunt's Belgravian mansion? They got that sort of money in Belgrave? Christ. He must be one of those old commies that still hid out there. Their money in Switzerland and they brought it out. So I kind of think the Hungarian president might have been too. It's like, where they they show up after the communism's completely sort of flushed out. Shouldn't do quote marks for that. Pardon me. Coughing not because of COVID, because I haven't been drinking enough. It's not booze, it's rosehip tea. A lot of vitamin C in it. And throwing me a birthday party. That's a good way to kind of avoid a lot of activity in the game. Apple, Roscoe, and Sly. Hosted by Sly's house. Different table. As I'm playing, I got a nice distraction there too. It's kind of cool. It's a good way to maintain focus, I think, or lack of focus. I don't know what I prefer. I prefer absolute madness. So yeah, let's see. Lancet study cause the WHO dropped this hydroxychloroquine thing. Go figure. Chinese orders, I suppose. Back to China. I'm guessing maybe someone's going to try to study it and study the pill in Hong Kong, and maybe they want to take over Hong Kong a little earlier than planned because they don't want the drug being tested there. Because Hong Kong has got very few rules about that stuff, oddly enough. It's kind of weird yin yang stuff, man. Hong Kong's like, do what you want because of the single permit idea thing and no paperwork. And China's going, wait a minute. This is what happens? Make the internet great again. Yeah. Make the internet free again. I remember Usenet. Usenet was awesome. News groups and stuff. You just put up your free agent, and you go to non-moderated groups because moderated groups sucked. Nothing but tyrants. Whenever internet gets moderated, it sucks. That is the worst thing in the world in the internet platform, Usenet included, could ever be. But it was, talk about decentralized. I mean, I'm not even sure how the groups were put up there because I was just start talking there and stuff like that. Alt dot and fan dot, poly and so on. But Rect at Arts, Doctor Who, and Alt Sex at street strip clubs and all these other different things. Because I remember IRC was really good until you met the moderators, and the moderators started kicking people, and you're thinking, what the fuck are you kicking that guy for? He just said something rather objectionable, non-objectionable. IRC was kind of cool too. You could troll people. I used to troll Klansmen. I used to troll perverts and stuff like that. I don't know if he went, but I showed up. I was on. You could change your name to anything. I was on IRC and I said I was two 12-year-old twins and I wanted to meet this guy in the Manulife building in Toronto, down in the garage. I would love to have seen video of this guy showing up, hanging around, looking around. Where the girls at? It seemed like he really believed it, though. I kept it real in the political channels, but it was really fun to find these guys that were looking for young girls, and I was like, Jesus. Fucking with them mercilessly. You can't do that much. You can't do that anymore, because now the one protected group other than trans trenders on Twitter is MAPS, Minor Attractive Persons. Because God forbid these pedophiles, I guess maybe they're called pedophile curious. Oh God. Are you curious about what you're sexually aroused by? I mean, maybe it could be a little confusing if you're like watching porn and you see the dick flop out and the pussy flop out and you're a little hard and you're thinking, which one is it? I discovered it was both. Well, not always. Most of the men are repulsive, frankly. But oddly enough, believe it or not, despite what even a lot of gay guys say, bisexuals are not throwing their dicks around. They're probably more choosy than most people, actually. I hate to make it about that shit. Such a trite little topic, actually. But LGBT groups just don't let us forget about it. Gotta check the power. The lav does seem to have pretty good battery power on this thing. My lav maker is probably in the on the list too. If people are interested in a mic, you can click on that link on my website and it'll take you to this mic. It's awesome mic. You won't know from the cell phone, but that Samsung does have pretty good sound, it seems. So, Good for you, Samsung. Glad you're not a Hawaii Chinese spy device. You're a Korean product. And Koreans seem a bit up on the liberty thing. I'm not sure if they're how hardcore, but they do seem to arrest their presidents a lot, which is kind of nice. I mean, imagine if the last president was arrested, or the president before that. I mean, imagine how much better it would have been. Facing treason trials and possibly mass murder of U.S. soldiers. Mass murder with drones and shit like that. And of course, I imagine them electing Pat Buchanan in 2000 and none of this ever being an issue. I mean, there might be some issues still, but he was the best at the time. He's better than Trump is now. Trump took part of his playbook and didn't do everything. He didn't do everything, and there's still foreign aid is to Israel and everywhere else. I mean, they focus on Pat saying, let's get rid of Israel, free money to Israel, who are killing the Palestinians and running a theocratic country. And I don't think there's anything American about theocracy. I understand Jefferson was quite against it. And so is Paine and all those other people. They created a secular system that allowed for non-secular living, but of your own choice, right? Not of the government's choice. There's no government religion. You have to hit A, you don't blow at it anymore. Animal Crossing New Leaf, you just go, oh, and you give your 3DS COVID-19. That's why I can't touch this now, right? Because, it's open, because now it's all sick because it's got COVID germs all over it from being blown during. Oh shit, oh no, tomorrow. So I got that a day ahead. So now I probably count this as a gaming thing now, couldn't I? I mean, a lot of people do that. They do that. They run the game and they talk about politics, and on a flimsy pretense, I can even link the game on the below. Even though I'm not showing it, I could probably just point the cell phone at it and took recordings from the cell phone and tied it together. But that's probably more interesting if the sound in the background is. Blow it out. That was so much easier than blowing at the. And I am so good at blowing. Just kidding. I'm a top. I don't suck. I don't take it up the ass. Ugh. At least, I'd say at least be a man about being into these other things. But if you say that to twinks and stuff like that, you'd never end up having any of those situations. Anyway, that's what I call tongue-in-cheek, by the way. Anyway, yeah. Breaking this, so how they even, they're calling this like a tea party over in Minneapolis. And it's not a tea party. No one's being revolutionized. There's no revolution. I mean, a tea party be like, I don't know, grabbing all the masks and tossing them into the harbor, maybe, and saying, fuck you, we're going to work, and fuck you, we're doing this, fuck you, doing that. Now, I come from a lineage of Magyars, which are the primary ethnic group of Hungary, and we're not known for our hard work, so I'm not going to tell you I'm a hard worker or anything. I'm just saying I sympathize for hard workers who can't do that right now. How does Hungary even... Oh yeah, we get Germans to go to Hungary to work. No one ever calls that a white slavery. Well, they get paid, but okay. No one ever... Colin Kaepernick is talking about George Floyd. Because we really need to hear about what he has to say. I mean, he took a submissive stance. He actually kneeled, which is submissive. It means I'm a bitch when you kneel. So why should he be taken seriously about this? I just don't think... It's weird seeing that horse. The eyes are on the side, but the sunglasses are on the front. Anyway, kneeling is not a tough masculine thing. Standing is much more tough masculine. I mean, you kneel before God in a church. Well, I did because I'm Catholic. So you'd have to kneel on those soft posts. You had to kneel when the priest was horny. And if it were Bill Maher, I'd say, I kid. Don't hurt me. But, God, that was so insufferable. And he always goes, I'm kidding. You're a comedian. I should guess you're kidding. If you can't even figure that out, you're a shitty comedian. But anyway, I digress. Just check the counter to see how much time I've spent on this blather. 51 minutes, almost an hour. Probably should only leave it an hour. This is a nice talk. Hope you're enjoying it. The one live member there. I can save it at least. That's kind of cool. The thing about Float.app, I can't save it, so this is a lot better, and Float.app has a terrible lag. I've seen this. This is relatively good, actually, and it's actually stable. Last time I had a lot of off and ons on the connection. This is pretty good. It doesn't drain the battery much. Orbis has done a lot of good. It'd be nice if it could mirror me, so you actually see me as, well, not reversed. You'll look at this button and you'll see that it's like backwards. I'm dyslexic, so reading that is easy. It's also my name. The Libertarian BC button. That was my campaign button from the you'll notice I didn't put any pussy ass, kiss ass, pink washing gay ribbons on there. Not even the bio ribbon. Maybe I could have done that. It would be disingenuous in my case, but I mean but I don't know. It seems tacky. And I got 100 buttons, so I don't think there'll be enough bisexuals to pin that on to make it genuine. Especially since, the LGBT community didn't pretty much listen to me anyway, so. Because they don't care about me unless I'm donating to any of their shit. And fuck them if they ever try to get me to donate to any of their shit. They don't give a fuck about that stuff. They only care about they don't even care about pure gays now. I did a satire thing on Huffing Glue Post, which was an article that said that the LGB are now considered hate groups by the T. That was a lot of fun. You can't laugh when you tell a joke, but you can laugh afterwards. Well, not after preparing it, but actually, you can laugh when you're writing the satire because no one knows. But yeah, the game on Steam is like 80% off right now, so this is Black Jester History Month. Now let's see. Let's see. So 399.91 recoveries, positive 1 million. So not even 1% catch this shit, and no one can go to work. Gee, I mean, you could blame China for a lot of things, but places like Michigan has to fuck people over for something that barely kills. Kind of like a gun. Except this one actually does it on its own. Yeah, 95,705 deaths. There's still about 300 million people in the United States. Unless you got like maybe 200 million left, what the hell? I mean, there wasn't even causation to do any lockdown or anything like that. There was barely correlation. It's ridiculous. Black voters don't trust mail ballots. That's the problem for Democrats. Black voters don't trust mail ballots. Yeah, I bet. They probably think, well, they know if they know we're black and or if they know it's being mailed on a black neighborhood, maybe they'll just make them disappear. Why does it say Jim Crow in my bail box? It's actually unconstitutional to do a mail ballot or absentee ballot and things like that because in the Constitution it does say specifically that everyone has to vote on the same day and time. Which means even with time zones, you probably have to start at 8 Eastern time across the board and end at 8 or however long it takes. And it all has to start and end at the same time without any time zone relativity. Now, so I guess they had some foresight. I guess they had some foresight that some ballots would be like with time zones. You have Pacific time votes decided because they already know what the votes are in New York and stuff. So it's that sort of craziness. So yeah, I mean, yeah, good for Trump for trying to liberalize social media. I hope it doesn't get challenged too much, but yeah, I mean, hey, if Twitter wants to go to censor, they probably won't end up censoring if they're a private company anymore because they have to rely on membership. Now they have to rely on stockholders. So if they have to worry about a stockholder leaving because of censorship, that's the problem with the stock market. Right now, the only boycott that would matter is boycotting the stock. But that's collectivism. Twitter is a collectivism. These are businesses. They're not individuals. And they make a mistake in saying that these collective groups have power over an individual or a solely owned company but owned by an individual. Even with possible limited partnerships. And that's the biggest problem. It's like it's not a traditional business. And some of these companies, not only are they seeking military contracts or intelligence contracts, but they're also got them. They want that's an Elon thing. I mean, Elon said some cool things maybe, but he wants this Neuralink, which makes me think of a social media network that stuck to your brain and they could deplatform you anytime they want. And do we want them to be deplatforming our live brain? I mean, that's what I guess CNN tries to do. That's what the state school system tries to do. So I guess people will think, what's the difference? All right, I think I'll stop it at that. This is Black Jester History Day special. Not sure there's much special to this podcast, but maybe I cracked a few whys and made some days, and hopefully people have a nice day, morning, evening, whatever, and enjoy this. And even if you did see this in Orbis, and you're probably the first people to see it, even if it's not live, do check out I don't know, you could check it audio, re-listen to it audio from the start, or you could watch the videos on the other platforms, because well, you'll see what I've been flipping through and see some of the visual references. Throat is dry. Huh. It's like the desert I wish I lived in. Well, not at night. I hate the cold. Yet I live here. Well, I hate fascism and I live in Canada too, so I'm kind of stuck here, landlocked. Lots of family, lots of stuff like that. I'm just glad I'm not in Toronto. Anyway, yeah. So, look into the swag links. I call it swag. I guess they call it merch too, and stuff like that. At Teespring, got some interesting stuff. You can even wear the shirt that has my Twitter appeal on it, which has gone for over a year, and they haven't even looked at it. That was the second appeal, of course. No, maybe it was the first one. I don't know. It was a long time, though. It was like March. It was in 2018 in March, and it was just before. It was just after. It was like not long after I announced my candidacy and set up my Twitter account to be a candidate account, and therefore they meddled in my election, which probably maybe cost me 3-4 votes, I guess, maybe at most. But it did make petitioning harder because I couldn't contact some of the same people and stuff like that. It made me walk on my bad knee that police brutality caused a lot more. So that's not that campaigning didn't, but campaigning is a lot easier than petitioning for ballot access. Do remember this. Whenever people bring up the democratic system and voting systems and so on, do remember to point out how difficult it is for a lot of people to even get on the ballot. Republicans and Democrats don't get this a lot of the time because they're usually instantly on. But in most states, third parties and independents, they can't do this very easily and stuff like that. And that's why we end up... oh, my pockets are full. Oops. Well, you put me up at the house. Crazy alligator. Anyway, it's a nice tune. Sharp on that one. Yeah, well, I'll just stop recording. And yeah, check out all the links, the Bitcoin stuff. Maybe someone has a Bitminer they want to run my my mining name on with BTC. I still haven't been able to set up my Antminer because I keep on getting the wrong power plug, and because I got the power source and it's got all but one power plug I need. Fucking frustrating. And I'm a little worried it might even cost me more power than I can actually get back. Which probably means you do have to own it. I don't know this yet. I'll probably find out the hard way. But if you own a lot, if you're like China and you own a lot of Bitcoin miners and factory and coal power plants, it's a lot easier. Anyway, I got a lot of good family, so I guess I'm rich in that area, and a lot of them aren't totally dirt poor, so, but, you know, they're doing better than I am, so I don't suffer as much as I could be suffering, but family's always important, guys. But who wants to lean on that, right? And you can donate whatever the hell you want if you want. If you feel right, share this shit everywhere. Like it, subscribe to stuff, even if it's on a mainstream platform, even if it's on a platform seem to be labeled a editor or a publisher. Until that time comes, join, as a mirror or whatever, and just to piss off the powers that be there. Thanks very much for listening anyway. It's been great talking and saying whatever the fuck I want. Later.